It started like most family group chats do, with someone oversharing a blurry photo of their dinner and my mom reacting with 17 heart emojis. Then, as usual, my sister Megan took over. She was the unspoken moderator of our dysfunctional family circus, the golden child, the event planner, the "let's do a poll" type. Except this time, the poll wasn't about where to have Christmas brunch or which baby names sounded iconic. No. This time, it was titled, "Who's Most Likely to Never Make It?" And it wasn't a joke. I scrolled past it 3 times before I realized it wasn't a meme. Megan had genuinely created a multiple-choice poll, complete with all 5 siblings' names, cute emojis, and that passive-aggressive flair only she could weaponize with glitter fonts. I didn't even get to vote. Because by the time I saw it, I'd already won. 7 votes. Out of 10. 7. Even my mom voted. The little circle next to my name had her initials on it. Growing Heart Mom. You know that sinking feeling when you're not sure if you're the punchline or the setup? Yeah. That was me. Holding my phone in the middle of a Walmart parking lot, next to a busted HVAC unit that had exploded Freon in my face 30 minutes earlier. No. Just kidding. No. This is for fun. Just my family casually agreeing I was the most likely to fail, with emojis. Megan added a comment under the poll. "Don't worry, Dave, we still love you, face blowing kiss." It wasn't the kiss emoji that stung. It was the way she spelled, still, like it came with conditions. I didn't reply. Didn't argue. Didn't rant. I just quietly left the group chat. Tapped. Leave conversation. Got the little pop-up that said, "You'll no longer receive messages from this group." Good. Because apparently, I'd been receiving the wrong ones for years. Growing up, I always knew Megan saw herself as the lead role. We were the small-town version of siblings sitcom chaos. She was the polished, well-dressed future lawyer. I was the kid who came home with grease on his jeans and a half-finished carburetor diagram in his backpack. At every family dinner, I played supporting cast. She got stories. I got sarcasm. When I told them I was enrolling in a local HVAC certification program, my dad's response was, "Guess somebody's gotta fix the rich folks' AC." My mom just nodded and said, "At least you'll always have work." They never asked why I chose it. Never asked what I liked. What I wanted. They just assumed that I'd always be the one struggling. The guy with the toolbox, not the briefcase. The one who could be replaced with a YouTube tutorial. The problem was, I believed them too, for a while. At 19, I was the kid with hand-me-down boots and a Honda that wheezed like a dying animal every time I hit 40. I worked part-time hauling insulation rolls, lived off gas station hot dogs, and taught myself how to recharge mini-splits using parts scavenged from Craigslist junkers. But I liked the work. The fix-it part. The sense that something broken could be whole again, even if people didn't treat me that way. It wasn't glamorous. But it was mine. What they didn't know, what none of them cared enough to ask, was that I was quietly building something. A reputation. Clients started asking for me by name. "That kid who fixed the boiler faster than the last guy." I saved every tip. Invested in better tools. Took weekend gigs in bad neighborhoods and Sunday calls no one else wanted. I didn't party. I didn't post. I just worked. And year by year, job by job, I built something solid. Which is why that poll hit differently. Not because it surprised me, but because they were still stuck in a version of me I'd already outgrown. The version they never updated. I didn't respond to the poll. But I screenshotted it. Because one day, I knew that silence would speak louder than any clapback ever could. And I had a feeling they'd come looking eventually. They always do, when they think you've got something they need. Especially Megan. Especially when her husband's luck finally runs out. And when that day came, I'd be ready. With a screenshot, a smile, and just one emoji. Brain. The truth is, I didn't always mind being invisible. There's a certain freedom in being the one no one bets on. No expectations. No pressure to perform. No spotlight. You get used to people talking over you, forgetting your birthday, calling only when they need the Wi-Fi password or a last-minute favor. You start to live like background noise, always there, never quite noticed. But that doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. Growing up, I wasn't just the other sibling. I was the utility. Megan was the performance. My parents? They were the audience, clapping after every tantrum she turned into a TED Talk. When she wanted piano lessons, she got a baby grand in her room. When I asked for guitar lessons, I got a $30 ukulele from a garage sale and a maybe next year. She got braces, a sweet 16 party, and a private college tour at 15. I got, "You have strong teeth," and a part-time job at AutoZone. By the time I was 17, I'd stopped asking. When Megan got engaged at 25, the whole family threw her an engagement party that looked like it was curated by a Pinterest board on steroids. Twinkling lights, catered tacos, custom photo booth. I remember because I worked the grill and unclogged the rental porta potty when it backed up halfway through the speeches. No one thanked me. Not even when I left early to do an emergency AC job for an elderly couple across town who'd been living in a heatwave with no airflow. I didn't tell anyone. I just did it. But Megan? She made sure the world knew she had monogrammed napkins. That's the thing with golden children. They shine so bright everyone else gets treated like shadows. I think what stung the most about that poll wasn't the votes. It was that they thought it was funny. That they thought it was harmless. They laughed like it didn't cost me anything. Like it wasn't salt on top of a slow bleed I'd been patching for years. But I didn't cry about it. Didn't throw a fit or write a dramatic Facebook post. I just refocused. Because at that point, I had bigger things to build. My HVAC business started small. Just me, a used Ford Transit van, and enough duct tape to mummify a rhino. I called it Everair Heating and Cooling. Not the flashiest name, but it sounded steady. Dependable. I made flyers. Built a cheap website. Took every job I could, attic mold, busted vents, dead thermostats. I once crawled into a crawlspace that smelled like a raccoon's divorce just to patch a leaky duct for a guy who tipped me in Home Depot gift cards. And I loved it. Not the grime. Not the 108-degree attics in August. But the fact that it was mine. Every call I answered, every fix I completed, it added up. Slowly. Quietly. The way trees grow before anyone notices the shade. After a year, I hired my first helper, Tony. Former electrician, sharp guy, had a knack for troubleshooting. We fixed an entire church's AC system over a single weekend and got paid in donuts, guilt, and an actual check. By the third year, we had 4 vans and a real office space, if you could call a refurbished storage unit an office. Still, it had our logo on the door, a coffee machine, and more customers than we could handle. No one in my family knew. Because I didn't tell them. Not because I wanted to hide. But because they'd never asked. When I saw Megan post a photo of her new housewarming party, all white countertops and filtered lighting, I didn't feel jealous. I just remembered how she once called me a maintenance guy with main character syndrome. I screenshotted that too. Not because I wanted revenge. But because I knew how these things worked. One day, the lights dim. And when they did, she'd remember the guy with the toolbox. The guy with 7 poll votes against him and 1 HVAC business built from scratch. The guy who knew how to fix things, and when to walk away. It happened almost exactly 1 year after the poll. I remember because I was elbow deep in a rooftop unit, sweating through my shirt, while a July sun tried to murder me one freckle at a time. Tony was handing me tools while humming some early 2000s rock anthem, and the phone in my pocket wouldn't stop vibrating. 3 missed calls. 2 voicemails. And 1 text from Megan. The first in over 12 months. Hey! Quick question, does Everair have any job openings? Asking for Andrew. Andrew. Her husband. The walking Instagram husband. The guy who once said my van looked like a baked potato with wheels. The man who wore loafers to a barbecue and called HVAC work blue-collar cosplay. That Andrew. I blinked at the message for a full 10 seconds. Then another one came in. He's been laid off, disappointed face, just looking for something to keep him busy. He's super motivated. And he learns fast, lol. I didn't respond right away. Mostly because I was trying not to drop a wrench down a 3-story shaft. But once the job was done, and I'd cooled off with a gas station iced tea and a car AC that actually worked, I sat in my van, pulled out my phone, and opened the screenshot. The poll. Who's most likely to never make it? My name. 7 votes. I cropped it. Highlighted her vote. Added a laughing emoji. Brain. And sent it back. No words. Just that. I put the phone down, turned on the radio, and drove off with the kind of peace you only get from years of being underestimated and one perfect moment of poetic justice. The thing is, Megan had always been allergic to humility. She grew up with every door already cracked open for her. Our parents made sure of that. When she got a B+ in chemistry, they blamed the teacher. When she crashed her first car, they bought her a better one. And when she said she wanted to be a brand strategist, they paid for the degree, the apartment, and the internship she called emotional labor. Andrew was just a logical accessory, tall, good hair, vaguely finance adjacent. They had a couple's Instagram with matching mugs and a tagline that said, "Manifesting luxury and cozy Sundays." I never imagined I'd hear from either of them again. But layoffs have a way of humbling even the best mug curators. I told Tony about the text later that day while we were cleaning out the van. He laughed so hard he dropped a socket wrench. "No way," he said, wiping his eyes. "Megan? Asking for a job? For Andrew?" "Yep," I said. "Wants him to stay busy." "Busy," he repeated. "Man, I've got a list of duct cleanings from hell that'll keep him real busy." We joked about putting him on crawlspace duty, letting him wrestle with mildew and raccoons. But we both knew the truth. He wouldn't last a week. Still, I wasn't angry. Not really. It was more like amusement, laced with a hint of poetic balance. Like life finally turned the thermostat to karma. Later that night, I got another message. "I get that you're still mad. But this could really help us out. Just an entry-level role. Something simple. He doesn't mind starting at the bottom." Starting at the bottom. Like I hadn't built that bottom one coil, one crawl space, one burned-out compressor at a time. I didn't respond. But I opened Instagram. And sure enough, there, Cozy Sundays, account was on hiatus. No latte art. No. Grateful for this life. Posts. Just a blurry story of Megan in her car, talking to the camera about growth seasons and learning through challenges. I clicked out. Tossed my phone on the couch. And made dinner in silence, thinking about how the world flips. A year ago, I was the family's cautionary tale. Now, I was the fallback plan. Funny how that works. A week passed before I got another message. This time, it wasn't from Megan. It was from Mom. "Sweetheart, Megan told me what happened. She's really upset. Can we all please be adults and come together for a solution?" A solution. To what? The natural consequences of a poll they all voted in. I stared at her message, thumb hovering over the keyboard. I didn't reply. Not because I was angry, but because I knew how this story went. First comes the request. Then comes the guilt. And if that doesn't work? Cue the speech about forgiveness being a family value. Sure enough, 2 days later, a family dinner invitation popped up in my inbox. Invite, naturally. Sent by Megan. Subject line: "Let's reconnect, Red Heart." Attached was a pastel-toned digital invite with a stock photo of a roast chicken and a paragraph that read, "Let's take this opportunity to move forward as a family. We've all made mistakes. Let's break bread, not hearts." Break bread? She once told me my microwave ramen smelled like failure. I didn't RSVP. But I did call Tony. "Wanna grab burgers Friday night?" He was in before I finished the sentence. So while my family sat around the table pretending to laugh through thin tension and overcooked chicken, I was across town eating garlic fries with grease on my hoodie and not a single ounce of regret. And the best part? We picked the diner with the busted HVAC unit that I'd fixed last month. The manager comped our meal. Said, "This guy saved our 4th of July weekend. AC died, and he had it running by morning. You're good people, Dave." Tony raised a fry. "To the guy who didn't make it." We both laughed. Loud. The kind of laugh that feels earned. Monday morning, Megan called. I let it ring. She texted immediately after. This is silly. We're still family. Don't you think you've made your point? I thought about replying. Not yet. But instead, I just sent a thumbs up. She replied with the classic. You always take things so personally. Right. Like the poll wasn't literally a contest of who's most likely to fail. But sure, let's gaslight the guy with the wrench and a memory like steel. It wasn't just Megan, though. I started getting random pings from extended family. Uncle Larry messaged, saying he always believed in me, which was hilarious, considering he once asked if I needed help applying for food stamps at a family reunion. Aunt Karen commented on one of my HVAC promo posts. So proud of you, sweetie. The same woman who used to tell people I was finding myself. Apparently I found myself, and they found a reason to act like I mattered. Funny what owning a business does to your last name. 2 weeks later, I got one more message from Megan. Okay. Look. We're in a bind. Andrew's unemployment ran out. We've got a mortgage, and the kids need school supplies. You have a successful business now. Can you please help? I read it 3 times. Not because I didn't understand it, but because I couldn't believe how short their memory was. No. I'm sorry for that poll. No. We underestimated you. Just a plea. A reminder that they still saw me as the emergency exit. The guy you laugh at until you need a job. And that's when I finally replied. Sure. Send me his resume. But first, wanna vote in another poll? Attached, the screenshot. Again. Brain. I didn't expect Andrew to actually send a resume. But 3 days later there it was, sitting in my inbox with the subject line. Application, Andrew J. McClellan. PDF format. Professional headshot. A 3-page document filled with vague phrases like strategic vision execution, people-forward mindset. And my personal favorite. Adept at cross-platform synergy. Bro. You sold novelty whiskey stones on Instagram and got laid off from a startup that made smart coasters. There was a section for skills that listed branding architecture, delegation fluency, team spirit. Not one mention of HVAC tools or even basic labor. It was like he Googled corporate speak and copy-pasted everything into a resume-shaped hallucination. I forwarded it to Tony. He called me 14 seconds later, wheezing. Bro, he said. You gotta frame this. Hang it in the van. I laughed. But I couldn't lie, a part of me was impressed. Not with the resume. With the audacity. Because for years I was the punchline. Now I was HR. Megan followed up. Did you get his resume? He's excited. He's open to learning. Honestly, he's so humbled by this experience. That word again. Humbled. Like they were doing me a favor by letting Andrew mop sweat in an attic. I didn't reply right away. Instead, I decided to make it official. I sent Andrew an email back. Subject, re-application. Hey Andrew. Thanks for sending this in. We appreciate your interest in Everair. As you know, we take HVAC work seriously here, not just as a business, but as a responsibility to the community. We're a small team. We work long hours in tough conditions. Our guys crawl through insulation, climb roofs in 90-degree weather, and get elbow-deep in rusted ducts at 2 a.m. This isn't busy work. It's real work. That said, if you're genuinely interested, we can offer a trial day. Details attached. No promises. Just a day on the job. Let me know. Dave. The attachment? A 1-pager titled Everair Trial Day Expectations. Arrival, 6:15 a.m. sharp. Dress code, long sleeves, boots, no pastels. Bring gloves, lunch, willingness to sweat. Tasks may include vent crawling, filter disposal, rooftop repair, and raccoon deterring. No phones during job hours. Starting rate, $16 per hour. No branding synergy required. No reply for 2 days. Then Megan messaged. Hey. That email was a little intense, don't you think? I replied. He applied. I gave him a real offer. She wrote back. You're being vindictive. I wrote. I'm being thorough. She left me on read. That Sunday, I saw Andrew at the grocery store. Alone. Hoodie. Baseball cap. Eyes locked on a bag of frozen peas like they held the secrets of the universe. He saw me, gave a little nod. I nodded back. No words exchanged. But the silence between us? Loud as hell. Monday came. No Andrew. Tuesday? Nothing. Wednesday? I got a Google review. 5 stars. From an anonymous account named M_Truth Seeker. The comment read, "Great business, terrible attitude. Some people let a wrench turn into an ego." I just smiled, took a sip of my gas station coffee, and hearted it. Because if they thought I was cold now? They hadn't felt the AC on full blast yet. The next family function I was invited to, and I used the word, invited, loosely, was my cousin Erica's baby shower. The group chat was resurrected like a zombie from the dead. Megan added me back without warning, like nothing had ever happened. Megan. Hey fam! Party Popper Erica's shower is Saturday at 2. Can't wait to see everyone there growing heart. Mom. Bring your famous lemonade, Dave. Megan. And maybe bring some Everair business cards, winking face, lots of sweaty people in one house, lol. I stared at the message like it was written in another language. After all that? After the poll, the texts, the resume, the "let's be adults" nonsense? Now I was lemonade guy with a free labor side hustle? I didn't reply. But I did show up. Because sometimes silence isn't enough. Sometimes you need the visual. I wore my Everair work shirt, clean, pressed, logos stitched across the chest, and parked the van front and center, next to Uncle Larry's BMW and Megan's lease crossover. People noticed. Erica gave me a real hug. One of the only family members who never voted in that cursed poll. She whispered, "Thanks for coming," like I was some celebrity guest. The rest? They looked at me like I'd grown a second head. Megan appeared 20 minutes in, holding a tray of pastel cupcakes like an Instagram threat. "Oh. You came," she said, voice high and brittle. "I was curious," I replied. "Wanted to see who still remembered how polls work." She blinked. "No hard feelings, right?" I smiled. "Of course not. I brought lemonade." During the party, the AC sputtered. Old house. Too many people. Bad airflow. It felt like someone microwaved the living room. Everyone fanned themselves with napkins and cocktail menus. "Dave," Uncle Larry said, adjusting his collar. "You got your tools with you?" "Nope," I said, sipping lemonade. "Off the clock." He looked like I just kicked his thermostat. Megan tried again. "Come on, Dave. It's just one quick fix. You're already here." I turned to her. "Let me ask you something. If Andrew had gotten the job, what would his hourly rate have been?" She hesitated. I don't know, $18? "Cool," I said. "Double that for emergency weekend labor in dress shoes." Her mouth opened. Nothing came out. I kept sipping. They didn't ask again. The rest of the party went smoothly. I handed out 0 business cards. Took 1 slice of cake. Hugged Erica. Then slipped out the side door while someone started a game of baby bingo. Back in my van, I got a text. From Dad. "Proud of the man you've become. Let's catch up soon." A year ago, he voted me most likely to never make it. Now he wanted coffee. I didn't respond. But I screenshotted it. Just in case. Later that night, I posted one photo to the Everair page. Me in front of the van, cup of lemonade in hand, captioned, "AC not working at your family gathering? Don't sweat it. Unless they voted against you, then maybe sweat a little." Petty? Sure. But when you've spent your whole life being the background character in your own story, sometimes a little pettiness is called character development. It took 3 weeks for Megan to cave again. Not because she missed me. Not because she'd found sudden clarity and remorse. But because, surprise, surprise, her brand new house had bad ventilation. A fixer-upper with character, she'd called it. Translation: a 1980s bungalow with a whole lot of asbestos and a central air system that sounded like it was choking on drywall dust. She didn't call this time. She emailed. Subject: HVAC question, smiley face. Hey Dave. Hope you're well. I'm reaching out as a professional inquiry, not a personal one. Our contractor says our vent system needs some serious love, and your name came up. We'd love a quote. No rush, just whenever you're free. Megan. No emojis in the body. Just one in the subject line, like a guilt band-aid. I sat with the email for a bit. Reread it while drinking coffee out of a chipped mug I'd used since trade school. My phone buzzed, Tony texting about tomorrow's crawlspace job, and I grinned. I forwarded the email to our office admin, Cindy. Cindy doesn't play. She's a retired Army mechanic turned Everair's administrative gatekeeper. Wears steel-toed boots and says things like, "This ain't romper room," when people ask dumb questions. She drafted the quote, complete with labor estimates, material breakdown, and one-line item titled, "Legacy Adjustment Fee, $500. When she asked if I wanted to explain it, I said no. Let them guess. Megan didn't respond for 2 days. Then she called. "Hey," she said, drawing the word out like she was summoning a demon. "Hey," I said flat. "So, I saw the quote." "Yup. Can we talk about the adjustment fee? You mean the one where I show up to the house of the woman who publicly branded me the family failure and now wants HVAC help?" She exhaled. "It was a joke, Dave. You voted. You laughed. Then you asked for a favor. We were all joking." I stayed quiet. She added, "Come on. We were kids. You were 29. More silence. Then she hit me with it. "Well, if you're gonna be this dramatic about it, we'll just find someone else." I shrugged, even though she couldn't see me. "Okay." Click. That night, Tony texted me a screenshot. Megan had posted on the neighborhood Facebook group. "Anyone know a good HVAC company that won't charge legacy fees?" Faced with tears of joy. Someone commented, "Call Everair. They're the best in the area." Another, "Everair fixed our whole attic setup in 1 day. Total pros." And my favorite, "Wait, isn't that her brother?" Her post got ratioed so hard she deleted it within the hour. The next morning, Andrew called me. From a blocked number. "Hey," he said. "Can I be real? That'd be a nice change. She's freaking out. The upstairs is a sauna. The kids are sleeping in the living room. I tried patching a vent and nearly broke a floorboard. You called to ask for a discount?" He sighed. "No. I called to say, I get it now. I really do." I didn't reply. But I didn't hang up either. He continued, "They never took you seriously. I didn't either. I'm not saying this to beg. Just wanted you to know. It wasn't an apology. But it wasn't an excuse either." I gave it a beat. Then said, "We'll get you on the schedule next week. Cindy will send the invoice." He paused. "Really?" "Yeah," I said. "We'll fix the system. But not the dynamic." Click. The job took 2 days. Andrew stayed out of the way, mostly. He tried to hand us bottled water like a peace offering and muttered things like, "Rough week, huh?" while pretending he didn't almost staple his own foot trying to help. Megan never appeared once. Not during demo. Not during the install. Not even when the new registers kicked on and cold air whooshed through the house like a long overdue apology. Cindy sent the final invoice that night. No discounts. No legacy fees waived. Just the full amount. Paid in full within 20 minutes. I thought that would be the end of it. But a week later, another text came through. From Megan. "I know you probably hate us. But I want to say thank you. The system works perfectly. Kids are finally sleeping through the night. Andrew told me what you said. I'm not great at this. But thank you." I stared at the message, unsure what she wanted. Gratitude? Closure? A clean slate? Then another one arrived. "Also, I miss having a brother." There it was. After all the years of being mocked, ignored, and written off, now she wanted to reconnect. Not because she changed, but because I had. I typed something. Deleted it. Typed again. Finally, I just sent one photo. That same damn screenshot of the poll. 7 votes. A single laughing emoji. Brain. Delivered. Read. No reply. I wasn't bitter. I didn't throw a party or post a revenge TikTok. I didn't start a blog called From Two Belt to Triumph. I just kept working. Kept building. Kept living a life I didn't have to prove anymore. A few months later, Everair was voted Small Business of the Year in our county. They gave me a plaque. Tony made us matching jackets with the logo embroidered on the sleeve and, most likely to make it, stitched across the back. I wore mine to Thanksgiving. Megan didn't come. But my mom pulled me aside after dinner and whispered, "We didn't realize how wrong we were." I didn't argue. Didn't say, "I told you so." I just nodded and went back to carving the turkey. That winter, I launched a scholarship. $5,000 for kids who wanted to go into trades, plumbing, HVAC, electrical, you name it. We called it the Underdog Fund. And on the application there was one question. Have you ever been underestimated? Tell us about it. The answers? Man, some of them hit hard. But they reminded me that my story wasn't rare. A lot of people get laughed at before they get listened to. They just need a chance. The group chat still exists. I don't post in it. Haven't in a year. But I left the notifications on, just for one reason. So that every once in a while, when someone makes a poll or asks a dumb question or needs a last-minute handyman, they scroll up, see that screenshot, and remember who they voted for. And who made it anyway.